iRacing has released their first development update in a few months, and it is filled with upcoming content, games that they're working on, as well as an iRacing UI update, which will be the biggest change to how the game looks since like 2009 or something. It is a big update, and I've gone through every single bit and found the bits that are exciting and that you should know about. So let's go through them. So for starters, we need to acknowledge some recent updates from iRacing and announcements. The first one is that there is going to be a standalone INDYCAR game that will be released on console and PC in the second half of 2026. This is fairly big news. The last time we had like an official INDYCAR game was INDYCAR Series 2005, which was developed by, surprise, Codemasters, who are the current devs for the F1 games. And so far, what we know is there will be a multi-level career mode, there'll be multiplayer, there are drivers from Indy NXT and from the INDYCAR series, obviously. It'll feature some car and track assets from iRacing, and Kiwi and longtime iRacing driver Scott McLaughlin will be involved in the development. It's also going to be on the Orontes engine. I hope I've pronounced that correctly. That was the engine used for the Exocross game. iRacing basically bought those developers. They work for iRacing now. So that's the engine. We'll see how it goes. Another game announcement is iRacing Arcade. This one's coming at the start of 2026, so not too far away. This one is slightly different in that it is a collaboration with Original Fire Games, who are developing the game. iRacing is just kind of publishing it. Original Fire Games made Circuit Superstars, and this game looks very similar to Circuit Superstars, but it does have officially licensed content like cars and tracks, and you can invest in things like, buildings for your race team and kind of growing that side of things. I'm probably one of the few people in the world to say this, but I have actually played a bit of iRacing Arcade, and I really enjoyed it when I did play it. I got hooked on sweating time trials like immediately. I'm excited to see how this game shapes up before launch. I don't think this game will be for everyone. I know a lot of hardcore sim fans will just not play it, but I definitely will. Okay, so time to get stuck into the actual updates into iRacing for the upcoming build. I expect to launch it on the 10th of September. And first up, we have technically four new cars that will be launching. The Aston Martin Vantage Evo GT3 is the first one, and this is a big one for all the GT3 spammers out there. This car is a 4-litre V8 engine, and it's an engine that sits in front of the cockpit. This brings up the number of GT3 cars in iRacing in the current class to 11, which is a fairly big number. At this point, all the GT3 cars in iRacing, in my opinion, are starting to blend into one another. Once upon a time, the cars felt really different, and each served a really specific purpose. If you wanted front engines, you went with the Z4, and if you wanted lots of aero and liked to crash, you would drive the Audi R8, and if you wanted straight line speed, you would drive the McLaren. But now there's just so many cars, and they're all so similar. The Aston Martin will sit with the BMW, the Mercedes, and the Ford as the front engine kind of vibe cars, and I expect it to drive somewhat similarly to those cars. Some other changes that have just been announced on a forum post, so this one you might have missed, is that the Audi R8 will be removed from the IMSA series to make room for the Aston, but it will stay in the other GT3 series. Also with the GT3 series, alongside the main fixed and open ones, we're going to have 3 new regional series for Asia Pacific, Americas, and Europe, just like in F4. And I'm not the biggest fan of this. I think it dilutes the series participation a bit, and it means there will be 5 GT3 series running it all the time across the series. And it also means that, for example, if you get the Bend in the open and fixed series, and then you get Spa in the Europe series, everyone's just going to run the Europe series all week because it's Spa. And that's fair enough, but I don't know, I think we'll just see a lot of Watkins Glen and Road America and Spa and Silverstone over and over again. Anyway, technically, another new GT3 car for this build is the BMW M4 Evo GT3. This is the Evo upgrade from the previous M4 and apparently required substantial graphical and physics work by iRacing, even though the car looks exactly the same. If you already own the BMW, this will be a free upgrade for you. Also in this build is the Indy NXT Dallara IL15. This one is a 2-litre turbocharged open wheeler, and it produces 450 horsepower, and it has push to pass, so it which gives you an extra 50 horsepower as well. This one is going to sit as a Class C car with both a road and oval fixed setup series, and from the vibes that I'm getting, this will be a really, really fast car. If we compare this car to something like the F3 or the Super Formula Light, the Indy NXT is going to have a lot more power to get down to the ground, and I imagine that it'll break into wheel spin and power slide a lot more easily. Along with this update, the Indy Pro 2000 Road Series will be killed to make way for this, but it will continue racing on oval. The Ford Mustang GT4 is another new car for this build, and this one should be fun to drive. I imagine it's going to be similar to the BMW GT4 car. I imagine it's going to sound really good though. And alongside the Ford Mustang will be an overhaul to just the GT4 class. In general, cars are now heavier with more horsepower, and the newest tyre model has been applied, which means that you do have to warm up the tyres a little bit before they get up to optimum grip, sort of like the GT3 cars at the moment. The GT4 cars should be faster in a straight line, but slower in the corners, and apparently around half a second to a second faster than before. There will also be a hybrid update this build for both the GTP and the Mercedes F1 cars. The Ferrari GTP will now only use electric engines once you're going at a certain speed, and the F1 cars will have like a new rapid regen mode. I don't know if these updates will be as good as we want them to be. The hypercars on Le Mans Ultimate, for example, a game that doesn't even work on my computer at the moment, those cars are a lot better when it comes to hybrid to iRacing. So hopefully they keep working on this and we see some more updates in the future. iRacing Hybrid is also coming. It won't be in this build though, it'll be later. Outside those things I've just said, there was some more information in that forum post I referenced earlier. LMP2 Challenge Fixed is coming back for Class B. Ferrari Challenge is moving from Class D to Class C, probably because these cars have way too much power for Class D drivers. And TCR Open is moving back to Class D as well. Alongside the car updates, there is a new track coming this build. It is Autódromo Hermanos Rodríguez in Mexico City. This is the track that hosts the F1 Grand Prix there, and I think this track looks fine. I'm not the biggest fan of it, but it could be good. It has got 6 configurations as well that will be in the game. There's like the F1, the NASCAR, and the Formula E layouts, as well as a bunch of other ones as well. As part of the NASCAR refresh, there are also a bunch of rescans of tracks that are going to be coming this build. Rescan means they've like fully scanned it and, you know, bumps are different and things like that. These will be free updates if you own them. Gateway, North Wilkesboro, Rockingham probably, Charlotte, Roval and Sonoma have all been rescanned. Sonoma I am particularly excited for. The scan is like quite old. There will also be art refreshes, so this means the track is exactly the same, it just looks different for Daytona, COTA, Watkins Glen, Chicago Road, Texas, and a big refresh for Alton Park as well. Outside all that new content, I referenced it earlier in the video, but the iRacing Sim UI is launching this build, and it is crazy. This is the first time that the in-Sim UI has changed in a complete way. It hasn't been fully redone since the game was in like beta, and I think it looks really, really good. I feel like the end goal is to make it so you don't have to use overlays when you're using iRacing, and the vibes are definitely different. You can check the screenshots and like decide yourself, but I think it's a definite improvement. Outside the general vibe redesign, the options screen has had a full redesign as well. Alt-K now works a lot better. You can now change like the size of your virtual mirror, for example. Black boxes can be minimized and expanded. And there's now a camera tool option that you can click, so you don't have to press like Control F12 every time if you don't want. Not for this build, but will come to the UI at some point. Things like search, color themes, some telemetry, and yeah, much more apparently. iRacing seem very aware of overlays like caps and race labs, and I expect that they are using them as inspiration for some of the features that we will see in the future. In a VR update, VR in iRacing now has foveated rendering. I don't know exactly what this means, but basically it like prioritizes what your eyes are looking at. It seems pretty useful. We've got a bunch of VR videos that will be coming out soon on this channel, including some stuff about iRacing. So if you want to see those, remember to click the subscribe button so you don't miss them. iRacing will now have language localization as another update outside the SimUI. We'll eventually have German, French, Italian, and Portuguese, but for this build, we're going to be having Spanish. Esto es fantástico. But yeah, that's all the updates that are being coming in this build. There are some things that they are working on for upcoming updates though. I will rip through them really quickly. The new renderer is being worked on in case you missed it. iRacing is working on like a brand new rendering engine for their game. But yeah, they've showed a bunch of screenshots. Trees look a lot better. Previously, trees weren't casting shadows on themselves. I didn't really notice it, but when you do look at them, trees do look kind of bad in the game. So they now cast shadows on themselves, and apparently they have DLSS working in the new renderer as well. They're also working on a bunch of tire and physics changes. I'll be honest, the information they provided sounds kind of like gibberish to me, but you know, it's always good that they're trying to make the tire and physics models better. One thing that did stand out to me was that they talked about having like physics, sounds, and AI kind of split to multiple cores. I don't know how computers work, but iRacing is often really super like CPU limited, and this sounds like it'll be a really positive change to fix some of that. Career mode is still being worked on, but they gave no updates. Oval, asphalt, and dirt updates are being worked on, and they're also working on machine learning AI with Microsoft for like AI drivers. This sounds very similar to like Gran Turismo Sophie, for example, and while I think that AI is like the language models are pretty terrible these days for most applications, including like sim racing driver training and setups and stuff, I think machine learning for AI drivers is actually a pretty cool application. A bunch of audio features are apparently being worked on as well, including a new audio reverb feature that they've talked about before, and race control systems that are being worked on, like the choose rule in NASCAR and also multi-class race starts. The multi-class start is a pretty big one. This will sadly get rid of those times when like you're in a GT3 class and the GT3 leader leaves a huge gap to the next class, and then they like jump the start before it goes green. And then they jump it really early, and then they end up crashing into the back of the prototypes, and there's just like a monumental shunt. You know what I'm talking about? Anyway, this update will probably fix that when it eventually lands. Animated pit stops are also coming for one of the major car classes. We don't know what that is yet. Miami F1 track is looking at launching at the Season 1 build, which will be December this year, along with the FIA Cross Car, which is like a dirt buggy, and the off-road track at Lucas Oil Speedway. Adelaide Street Circuit is being worked on, no dates yet, as well as St. Pete, there's no dates for that as well. And they're apparently rescanning and scanning all sorts of tracks in North America, Europe, and the Middle East, which is like, I'm pretty sure the main region in the world where iRacing does not have a lot of content. So yeah, that is all of it. This is a pretty big dev update and a pretty big video, it turned out. But yeah, let me know what you were most excited about trying in this upcoming build. As I said earlier, I expect it around the 10th of September. I'll be jumping in, driving the Aston and seeing what I think. If you liked the video, feel free to leave a like, and you can also subscribe for more iRacing videos, including our review on the build when it comes out. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.